Hello and welcome back to Eastbourne Council Watch. It was question time at the Council Cabinet meeting last week. Out of 4 questions submitted, only 1 was accepted, probably the easiest one to answer, although perhaps that's being a little unkind. Anyway, the blistering supplementary question, inspired by Martin from Richmond upon Thames Council Watch, was less easy to answer. Here's Sarah with her questions.
I would like to ask, what is the Council's understanding of the term net zero and how it will affect the people of Eastbourne and their local environment?
Thank you very much, Sarah. I believe, Councillor Murray, you have the response.
I do. Thank you. So, Eastbourne considers net zero to mean reducing carbon emissions measured in CO2, carbon dioxide equivalents, as much as practically possible, and then investing carbon sequestration projects to offset remaining residual emissions. Essentially, we should not be producing more carbon than we are able to sequester. The Council has committed to achieve net zero for its own Scope 1 and 2 carbon emissions, direct fuel use and purchased electricity by 2030, and seeks to help the borough reduce its emissions as a whole, though it won't pay to offset residual emissions. The work undertaken by the Council to achieve net zero is wide-ranging, including projects such as working with partners to improve the energy efficiency of homes, reducing diesel consumption of our fleet, planting trees and wildflowers, and installing EV car chargers. These projects do not just reduce car emissions, they improve air quality and subsequently health outcomes for our residents. Trees can help carbon capture, provide shade, improve air quality and biodiversity, and energy efficiency measures can reduce spend on energy bills. The Council's aim is to overall improve the lives of our residents and at the same time reduce our impact on the global environment. Climate change impacts are being felt now, and we believe that the anthropogenic sources of carbon are a factor. We are led by global independent research and national legislation. The 2030 target was set due to the consensus that it's more likely we will be able to limit global temperature rises if we act sooner. The longer we leave decarbonisation, the more greenhouse emissions will be, and in the atmosphere, increasing the likelihood of higher global temperatures and greater resulting impacts. The Council cannot achieve its aims alone and works alongside community groups and county council, other local authorities and statutory bodies such as the Environment Agency. All our work in this area is carried out being mindful of scientific consensus, regional and national priorities and specific local issues. It is a balancing act summed up, I feel, by a quote from a UK Climate Change Committee briefing paper. While politicians might disagree on how to respond to climate change, they shouldn't disagree on whether they should or shouldn't. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Sarah, you are allowed a supplementary question as long as it's related to your original question, if you'd like to carry that out. Oh, you do have one? Again, if you'd like to turn the mic on.
The Council is no doubt aware that it is not net zero, but absolute zero that is the government's true target. According to the Absolute Zero report, written by UK Fires, a consortium of UK academic experts, and debated in the House of Lords on February the 6th, 2020, 2050 targets include the following: all fossil fuels to be completely phased out, all airports to close, all shipping in and out of the UK to decline to 0, beef and lamb phased out, iron ore and metal, along with steel and cement, phased out. And on it goes. In the name of what? According to Dr. Patrick Moore, former director of Greenpeace, in the name of climate change alarmism. He warns the much politicized environmental movement is campaigning to destroy civilization with their climate change agenda. Scientific rigor, he further warns.
Sorry, Sarah, could I ask for the question? I know you're doing a statement here rather than a question, so if we can have the
question, if I may.
Understood, but
I'll just want to finish because it's all relevant. Scientific rigor, he further warns, must be regained if green lobby-led folly is to be overturned. Please understand that I'm simply trying to share with you the other side of the climate change story, which is either being deliberately hidden, censored, or ignored. And be aware that other members of the public are similarly sharing similar information with their respective councils, and this is rapidly gathering momentum nationwide. What effect will absolute zero have on all of us, our families, not just practically, but mentally and psychologically? My supplementary question to you is this: is this dystopian world of absolute zero a world that you would want to live in? A world you would want to pass on to your children, your grandchildren, and future generations? Thank you.
thank you, Sarah. Jim, as our expert and Cabinet portfolio holder, are you comfortable to respond to the question?
It's a bit of a tricky one, this one. I don't believe that we will be going for absolute zero. We do want to phase out fossil fuels. We do, so if we're phasing out fossil fuels, then we'll be looking for alternative ways of moving ourselves around the world via aeroplanes and things. So it won't be fossil fuels, but there's a good chance that it'll be things like hydrogen, and it would be green hydrogen if we do that. Same with the shipping. There's a piece on the news this morning where the P&O ferry has moved to 40% battery power, so it's reducing its emissions travelling backwards and forwards across the channel. So there's a progression away from fossil fuels, which is the main thing which we need to be doing to get ourselves down to net zero. I think the final question is more of a philosophical question rather than the one that I can answer on the spot now. But if you want a fuller answer, then we've obviously got a note of it, and we can look into it in more detail. But yeah, thank you for your question.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Murray. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, from this council's perspective, we've made a commitment to be net zero. We haven't made a commitment to be absolute zero. And I'm absolutely certain that as technology develops, as Councillor Murray is already talking, there'll be other solutions. But at the moment, the impact, I think, as you said, Councillor Murray, and as we've said in our original summary, trees, increased biodiversity, all the benefits that come from decarbonisation and reducing our emissions can only be a good thing for the town in general. So, of course, there might be consequences to that. I don't think it'll be quite as severe as perhaps you're suggesting, but I'm not an expert, and I'm sure we can provide you with a fuller response afterwards. But in terms of that dystopian vision you have laid out, I think we would possibly challenge some of that, but I'm not prepared to do that at this stage, Sarah. But I'm sure we might have a difference of opinion, and we'll just have to keep working on that overall vision for the town going forwards. But thank you for your question, and thank you for your colleagues for joining you as well this afternoon. Thank you.